Today, what we're going to talk about is the aligned sales tunnel method. So, what is this method? Well, think about objections as being this massive mountain that's in the way of your client's progress and your business's progress. Okay. Assuming that objections are maybe based of fear or based out of logistics or maybe a smoke screen or something that's obviously in the way of the progress of the momentum of the deal. So what you want to do is use this method to dig a tunnel, to go through the objection, to go under the objection. So the whole point is, how do we break through the objection to ultimately keep the deal flow, the deal momentum moving forward? Okay, so what we want to talk about here, it's first things first, that objective of, hey, let's understand what are objections, okay? So right here, obviously, we talk about, hey, a tunnel helps you move forward past surface level roadblocks. So that's exactly what we're going to do, right? We're going to give you a method to ensure that the process you're running is going to help you ultimately move forward, so that way you can go deep. Okay, you can get clarity and you can ultimately keep building sales momentum. So the key here is following a proven structure consistently. If you don't want money, if you don't want sales, if you don't want to help people, if you don't want to impact lives, don't follow a process. Keep winging it, keep doing it your own way. Okay, this method has helped me close over 5 million in high ticket sales. So maybe it's something to think about. Okay, so now what do we have to do? Well, we have to practice daily, get a coach, practice with somebody, right? But practice every single day. Again, momentum is the name of the game here. How do we keep moving forward? Okay, obviously, those daily practices will stack so that way you can practice weekly. Get this so dialed in and memorize that it becomes effortless. When someone says this, you say that, not as a way to rebuttal or to like get in their face, but as a way to have calm composure in the battle. Okay. So you want to know where you're going to be taking the conversation. You want to know what to say and how to say it. How does that happen? By winging it, by flinging it, by like just trying random things? No, it happens by following a proven structure, a method consistently. Okay. The other big thing, and I'm not going to cover this full thing. By the way, if you want this document, let me know. Reach out to me on School. I'll give you the instructions there in the description. But the big thing here is addressing the truth. What is the truth? What's the real objection? It's not the spouse usually. It's not the money usually. It's not, I need to think about it usually. There's something there. So all we're doing with this structure is gaining clarity. Let's get to the truth, right? Let's figure out what's really going on. That's called a meta view, right? At a high level, like let's zoom out. Let's take a step back. By the way, I even say that as part of a language pattern that I run. Let's take a step back. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's really going on? Let's get organized. Let's keep track of the big picture. Let's figure out what are some of these blockers, because we want to even eliminate them before the price, before we introduce the investment. Okay. So you want to go upwards in this meta view to get organized, but also to be able to address the real objections, we need to go deeper and use what's called a Socratic method. Asking questions to lead the prospect, the client, to their own truth. Help them understand themselves. By the way, sometimes people give objections and they just do it because they think that's what they need to do. They think that's part of the process. They're not even thinking. That's the whole point. You as a leader, because sales is about influence, sales equals impact. If you give a shit, then you're going to do your best to help this person. Therefore, okay, let's slow down a bit and help. Let's help them. Let's help them understand the situation. Let's help them understand themselves. What's the root of all this? Right? What do they ultimately want? What is their big why? Okay, making a decision aside, money aside, all this other stuff aside, like what is their big why? Is it impact? Is it traveling? Is it like, building their nonprofit? Like, what do they ultimately want? And then why do they want that now? Because if they don't achieve that now or in the next 6 to 12 months, what would be the biggest consequence of that? Let's go deeper. Let's figure this out with them. Let's get to the truth. That's how we address the real objections. Okay. So there's a lot more stuff down here in terms of mentality, in terms of like what you could do, what you should do. The biggest thing is consistency. Do not break protocol. Do not break character. Stay consistent. Smile and show excitement wherever possible. Because if you can get somebody to laugh during the objection handling or during the price drop, like right when the money's on the table, then you're in a good spot, right? It means that they're comfortable with you. It means that they're willing to work it out with you. Okay, so just read through this, figure out. This one's a really good one, by the way. I'll end with this one, and then we'll move into the tactical. But in terms of mindset, do not get frustrated. Anticipate objections, love objections, embrace objections. Why? Because they are part of the game. They are part of sales. People are nervous. People have fears. People have doubts. People are going through things. They kind of know you. They kind of don't. They kind of trust you. They kind of don't. So therefore, if somebody gives you an objection and you get frustrated or show aggravation or annoyance, good job. You just lost the sale, right? I'm being sarcastic, but don't do that. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. So what do we do? Well, think about it like this. When a paramedic is working with someone that they just found them over there like in a crash, and that person's freaking out, right? And the person's telling the paramedic like, get the F away from me, like, screw you, blah blah, like leave me alone, blah blah. They're freaking out. Is the paramedic gonna like punch them back and yell at them back? No, they're gonna be calm. They're gonna be assertive. Like, listen to me. We need to do this. Hey, here's what we need to do. Right? They're gonna lead them, but they're gonna be professional because it is their duty to help this person. You as a leader need to help these people. Okay. So now enough of the mindset piece. By the way, I love this stuff. Without mindset and just the way to approach things, you won't really ever figure this out. So master that. So what's the first step? The first step is to diffuse. Diffuse the pressure. Okay, what pressure are we talking about? The sales pressure, the sales resistance. By the way, let me add that. Okay, we're doing this live, so let's put that in there. Okay, get rid of the sales pressure. Okay, and sales resistance. Okay, so want to get through the smoke screen. You want to get beyond the surface level. Okay, so go beyond. Okay. So what do you do though? Like, how do you do that? How do you diffuse the sales pressure? Well, first of all, here's where I would use the Hakuna Matata frame. What is this Hakuna Matata frame? Well, we've all seen Lion King, right? We've all seen Lion King. We know Hakuna Matata means no worries. So what do we have here? Literally, no worries. So it's again a mentality to diffuse sales pressure. Any objection they say, hey, John, I need to go and think about it. Hey, Mary, I have to go talk to my spouse. Hey, Frank, I have to go talk to my, accountant. Hey, so and so, this is too much, right? Or hey, I wasn't expecting it to be this much. Whatever they say, it doesn't matter. That's why I'm telling you, use this as a structure, as a method. It doesn't matter what they tell you. Follow this process and you're going to win. So you say, gotcha. No worries. Okay. Gotcha. I get it. I understand. Okay. Whatever words you want to use, but the whole point is this idea of, hey, no worries. Even the way I'm putting my hands up, gotcha. Yeah, no worries at all. Gotcha, Jenny. No worries at all. I can appreciate that. Gotcha, Jenny. Yeah, no worries. Okay. All good. No worries. No problem. This is the first step. Don't sleep on this. This is how you get your foot in the door. A lot of you guys are standing outside, metaphorically, this person's house, screaming and yelling, you should do this. Buy now. Blah. And they're like, you don't get it. Like, you're outside my house. Like, you're never going to get in. You need to diffuse the pressure to put your foot in the door and say, hey, listen, no problem at all. Like, hey, let's figure this out together. It's literally what we're doing here. So that's step one. It's very easy. You can get this one for sure. Step two. Okay. So step two, we need to confirm that there is buy-in. We need to figure out that what we've said, what we've covered, our demo, our pitch, our system, our product is actually going to be helpful and useful for them. How do we do that? Okay. So get buy-in. So what we're doing is we're actually pivoting. We're switching the topic of the conversation from, hey, do this now, buy now, to figuring out a clarity, right? Key distinction. First, we have to get the buy-in on our system. And then you could also get buy-in on their vision. Like they might believe that you can help them, but they might not believe in themselves. They might have self-doubt. This is important. So that's why we need to figure out what's really, really going on. These are all examples of smoke screens. So what do you do to confirm buying? You say, first of all, gotcha, yeah, no worries at all, Jenny. Now, at this point in the conversation, just to take a big step back, what's most important for us is the idea of alignment. Okay? Another way to say it is like, yeah, well, let's just take a big step back for a second, because at this point in the conversation, the most important thing for us is alignment. The most important thing for us is clarity. The most important thing for us is momentum. So let's put making a decision aside for a second. You've never heard this before. Why? Because I have never heard this before in any sales training. A lot of people, they'll say, let's put money aside, think about it, but they are not explicit in letting them know, hey, listen, John, you don't have to do anything today. Say that, because that diffuses sales pressure. By the way, listen to the words I just chose. You don't have to do anything today. What does that mean? That if they do want to, they could, right? You don't have to do anything today is subconsciously telling them, first of all, chill, like relax, like you take a step back. Also, it's totally up to you what you decide to do today, and that is the truth. There's no point in hard closing someone if you run the risk of refunds, okay, chargebacks, okay, messing up your reputation. Don't do it. Just don't hard close anybody. It's not worth it in the long term. Okay, so back to the tactics. You say, gotcha, Jenny. No words at all. Well, let's just take a big step back for a second, because at this point in the conversation, what's most important for me is the idea of alignment. So let's just put making a decision aside. Let's put money aside for a second. By the way, if they tell you the wife, let's just put making a decision aside for a second. Let's put you speaking to your husband aside for a second. I'm curious. Here's where we pivot. I'm curious, based on everything that you've seen this far, Jenny, I guess, do you feel that this is something that like can be helpful and useful for you, or not really? Notice how we're adding the or not really. Now, by the way, there are some experts out there who I agree and appreciate. Okay. I'm gonna name names where they'll say don't say or not really, because that's a negative. But the whole point of that is because we want to unearth objections. We want them to tell us what their objection is. Okay. If they get any hint of manipulation, any hint of, oh, this person's trying to like persuade me down a certain path, they're gonna close up and they're gonna essentially flat out lie to you. Do you want your prospect to lie to you? Okay, then let's just have a conversation with them and be real. Like this, right? If you're asking your spouse, hey, like, I want to go to, I want to go get whatever. I want to go get Chipotle, but like, do you want to get Chipotle too or not really? You know what I mean? Like you're just gonna ask them like that. Like, do you want to get Chipotle too or not really? Do you want to go to Disneyland too or not really? Like, just be honest with me, right? That's what we're signaling here. Just be honest with me, because listen, but making a decision aside, you don't have to do anything today. What are we optimizing for here? We're optimizing for truth. We're unearthing the truth, and that's what helps us overcome objections clearly and efficiently. Okay. So here, by the way, is where they'll tell you the truth. This is where they'll say, you know what, honestly, your program's cool, but I don't need all of that. Hey, the group coaching sounds good, but I don't, that's just something that I've already tried and it's not going to work for me. Or they may say, no, honestly, like based on everything you're telling me, this is amazing. Like, no, honestly, yeah, like I really like this about it. I really like that about it. Okay. So this is where we start to get into what is the truth. We want to confirm where they're at. Okay. So now we need to clarify. They'll tell us, yeah, yeah, no, this is great. This is great. But by the way, I just got to go talk to my spouse, and it's, there's just got a lot going on and all these things. you hold your ground and you say, yeah, Jenny, no, that's fair enough. No problem at all. Again, let's put making a decision aside. I'm curious, you said that it did sound like it was going to be helpful. So what stood out the most for you specifically? Okay. You need to get them to tell you, like, by the way, this is them selling themselves, right? This is them in a good way telling themselves out loud, here's why I think this program is going to help me. Here's why I think Luis could really serve me. Here's why I think your system and your method is going to be extremely useful for me. They will tell you why, because you've taken the time in those first few steps to diffuse the sales pressure, to let them know and let them feel that you're not going to try to hard close them, because you and I both know in the long term that's not going to serve anybody. Okay, so then here they tell the truth. Yeah, frankly, ABC about your program sounds amazing. That stuff is really going to be helpful for me. Yeah, I think that's really, really good. And then you dive right in. You don't even give them a second think. You say, gotcha. Because again, we want to unearth the objection, the truth, not to think about it, not the spouse, the truth. So we go, gotcha. Okay. And on the flip side, using a bit of a metaphor, the flip side of the coin. Gotcha. And on the flip side, is there anything about the system that isn't quite clear? Do you have any sort of hesitations or concerns about the way this could work for you? And by the way, notice that the words that I'm using, it's not like a script, right? It's just the idea, the theory that we're implementing using different words at different times. Okay. So this is what we want to do. We want to clarify and really like tie down, figure out where are they really and specifically. Okay. So first things first, diffuse the sales pressure. They tell you, okay, Luis, well, listen, this is great, man, but how do I get back in touch with you? I say, gotcha, Eric, no worries at all. Hey, no problem. I get that. I can appreciate that. I'm curious though, just taking a big step back, because at this point in the conversation, the most important thing for me is alignment. So making a decision aside, let's put that aside for a second, money aside, and speaking to your partners aside. I'm curious, Eric, based on everything that I've shared, do you feel like this is something that's going to be helpful and useful for you, or not really? He'll tell me, cool, man. And I guess what part of that do you feel is going to be really helpful and useful for you? Okay. And then on the flip side, is there anything here that you're still uncertain about? Is there anything here that you feel isn't really going to be helpful for you? They'll tell me. Okay. Now we're 4 layers deep in uncovering the real objection. By now, they will usually tell you, well, no, I mean, this is good, but honestly, like, whatever the real objection is, right? Honestly, I'm excited, but I have like a big trip coming up with the family, and I just don't know if I'm gonna have enough time for this. No, this is amazing, but honestly, like, I just invested in something and my credit is not where I'd like it to be. So yeah, I'm just trying to weigh out like when would be the best time for me to do this. Right. Or logistically, hey, this is amazing, but honestly, I don't have 10K liquid. But I mean, I don't know, could we work out a payment plan? You'd be surprised, because when you're operating from truth, they will want to work it out with you. So now what's this last piece? This last piece is where we really dig in case they haven't told us the truth. Here we go. Okay, gotcha, John. So, or gotcha, Eric, whoever. It's like, most of that, man. And then just to see if I can help, I'm curious, man, again, making a decision aside and all that. Is there anything else? Are there any other concerns or hesitations that might keep you from moving forward with something like this? Okay. Notice what I said, from moving forward with something like this, from doing something like this, that might keep you from doing something like this. It's not pressure. It's not, trying to get them to do this. It's really, truly wanting to understand what's really going on. They're going to feel that. Okay. And this is where you uncover the truth. Again, this is where they'll tell you, yeah, honestly, like, whatever truth comes up, they'll tell you, they'll let you know. And that's where then you can handle it. You can handle their objection. They may say, you know what? So now the fifth piece is to reframe and to ultimately address their objection. Okay, address these objections. And you want to do them in this order. Okay, reframe and address objections in this order: their partner, the money, the fear, logistics. So here, I'll just give you an example. Okay. Here, what we want to do is get very, very clear on, okay, gotcha, man. So for you, it sounds like it's just a little bit of fear, like, maybe a little bit of nerves. Okay. So we want to reframe it. Okay. It's like, gotcha, man. So at this point it sounds like you're all good to go. So do you feel like it's maybe just a bit of nerves that are coming up for you? You know? Yeah, do you feel like just it's a bit overwhelming to think about like moving forward with something like this? Label it. Okay, transition it. This is the difference. And so then what's going to happen is here is where you will have to lead them. You have to use different metaphors. You have to use different things to get somebody to open up. Now, this in itself, a whole nother training, how to handle fear objections, spouse objections, financial objections, all these different things. So at this point, I just wanted to share the high level process of how this works so that you have an idea of what to do and how to do it. Ultimately, going deeper into these objections is a whole nother training, but for now, just stick with this, okay, and be able to follow it consistently. That's how you're going to get results. Talk to you soon.